Hello everybody, my name is Solus Convoy and today I'm taking a look at RT05 Black Beetle. This is Robot Toys' attempt at a legend scale Tarantulas and maybe one of the worst third-party names of all time. As we take a look at the box, I don't know why they called it Black Beetle. They could have called it Green Tarantula. Clearly there was no reason for this, or Purple Tarantula, but whatever. Yeah, the box is an absolute nothing burger. And then back towards the figure itself. I got this from Shozi's store. I will be putting a link in the description. But this is, as we can see, a pretty good take on Beast Wars Tarantulas in legend scale. You can already see that detailing, just getting to the figure itself. You can already see that nice detailing on the chest to kind of get that specific look that Beast Wars figures often have with their sculpt. I mean, the paintwork is really excellent on this thing, really shines. Beautiful purple paint. That green is plastic, beautiful yellow and purple paint right here on the claws. Some beautifully painted orange details. The paint on this guy is stellar, especially for the size. More orange paint, this beautiful metallic purple paint. Truly a very, very pretty figure. And then on the head, let's get on that head sculpt. Why not? Really well done. Love that yellow painted visor. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I love that yellow paint on the visor. Those orange dots as well are super well done. That metallic green paint is very well done. It shows up here. It's well done. The paint is just really good on this thing. I sound like Bobby, but it truly is one of the main draws of this figure. I don't have my pointer with me, so I'll borrow some accessories. So really well done right there. Good yellow paint for the eyes. I like the gold trim that goes around. These spider eyes on the crotch are also done really well. More of this yellowish mustard paint that's done well. Even when the lines here against the purple, these orange details are all painted. Gorgeous figure, gorgeous. Truly one of the best painted entries I've seen in legend scale in a while. And as of my having it for a bit now, I've had this for 2 or 3 weeks. I haven't had time to review it. The paint has not come off as I've been messing with it, but I haven't exactly been putting it through the numbers. So getting into articulation, the head is on a ball joint, which sadly has almost no up range. Now it can rock back and it can rock down really well, and it does get like a 360 around, but for some reason this ball joint can't go up. Now there is a complex hinge system because of transformation. There's a hinge at the base of the neck which allows them to look down infinitely. There's also a hinge right here. That hinge is tighter, it kind of clips in. And you can kind of use that to replicate not having the ability to look up. You know, you can kind of use that to your advantage, that hinge, and now you can look up just fine, just with a little bit of a neck. I think that's fine. And again, you can look down pretty much infinitely as long as you're willing to break the sculpt. So that's nice and dandy. But because of that, for some reason, there's not a lot of side to, yeah, there is side to side. It's just, for some reason, he has more side to side in this direction, but then going in the other direction, I feel like now he still has a little bit of side to side. The shoulders are on ball joints, which allows them to get, you know, around and then up to 90 pretty much, almost. They get stuck a little bit at the end there. There's also some butterfly action, you know, like just a little bit, very small, but there is some of it, you know, not much, right? But a minor butterfly. Bicep swivel, which is nice. You also have a elbow bend that goes to 90 degrees. Now you have a wrist swivel, which gets you a full 360. These spider, you know, they're machine guns in the show. Spider legs, machine guns can rotate. Well, they are still spider legs. They're not like explicitly machine guns, but they do fire ammunition. Anyways, the claw has 2 hinges where it can open and close. Very well done. No double jointed elbow, of course, but I think 90 for this design is fine. And it's nice that it can, you know, swivel the wrist and has a regular bicep swivel as well. Whole lot of swivels in there, though you will start to notice that there is a lot of joints and they do start to feel a little bit flimsy because there's a lot of them and it's really easy to move. These are articulated at the base. There's a lot of stuff on this figure which is easy to move, which is good because a lot of the parts are really tiny and they feel kind of thin. So you don't really want to have friction, but there is also like no friction. So just keep that in mind. The waist can swivel pretty freely, which is nice. However, I think if you clip in the backpack, you actually end up losing that waist articulation. So keep that in mind. And then you can't kick back at all, right? For example, I can't kick back. I have no waist articulation. So I'm going to untab that again, right? Untab this, and then I have unlimited waist. And if you start mistransforming him, you can kind of get an ab crunch going. But at this point, this is like a heavy mistransformation because you're basically taking his torso apart. So I'm not going to do that. But with the backpack untabbed, you do, again, have a waist that can go 360. You have these ball jointed hips that can go up that far, but they have to start going out because of the shape of the hip. And then they can push it all the way up to here, which is great. You have a thigh swivel, which is pretty nice. You can kick out this far, right? And you can kick back that far with the backpack out of the way. With the backpack in the way, it goes down a little bit. Now we come over here, we have a knee that gets way past 90, and then we can actually untab here. This is tabbed to get all the way to 180, though this feels more like a transformation joint. I will say this just feels like the proper knee. And then at the ankles, we have a hinge for our ankle tilt, which goes both ways. And then we have a ball joint at the base, allowing you to do pretty much whatever you want with this thing, just in limited ranges. So it's very posable, but I just have to say it. Like, it seems fine. It's very lightweight. It's a very lightweight figure. But like, if you notice, like, I'm not really putting in a lot of force, and a lot of things are moving. The joints, it's not like they're floppy, because again, the figure doesn't weigh enough to flop around or like collapse at its own weight. But like, if you like push, right, like you don't know, like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's not flimsy and floppy, but it also is like, the joints are too smooth. There's no real resistance or friction. So even though nothing is like falling over, and he poses actually really nicely, despite his small feet, I don't have issues posing it, but it does feel really like, it feels like I'm messing with something that's like, I don't know, made of air. I don't really know how to describe it. And it's not light or hollow or cheap plastic either. The joints are simply spindly, and there's not a lot of friction. Things like this is very smooth, right? It's very pleasing to move, but it's also loose. I don't really know how to describe that feeling. Anyways, we're going into accessories. The first, which I'm not going to show off, is, or I'm going to show it, but I'm not going to use it, is an alternate replacement head. This is like his, he uses these like scanners, I think, in the show. He wears them over his usual visor. They're green. He comes with this installed in the box, actually, and it has a tab on the back, so you just got to finagle the face off. I'm not doing that because I don't want to risk chipping the paint, and it also doesn't look that good in my opinion. He has a regular blaster. This detaches, or well, his gun from the show. It does detach, doesn't fire, obviously. Pretty neat feature. He can hold it by these slots inside his hands, and you just tab it in here, and then you can close it, and there's a matching tab on the inside. I forget what these are called for spiders. There's a very specific name for them, but whatever. In robot mode, they're just claws. So you can just tab in like that. His second accessory is a bit more interesting. It's that like toy accurate, like, you know, it looks like a crossbow thing, or like an arrow launcher. I don't know. This thing. But if you notice it's like white on it, that's actually a very flexible, very fun little string, right? And it kind of is like, has a consistency of dental floss, but it's like you can pull on this, right? And it like bounces back into place, which is really cool. And it also features a magnet. And this is actually a pretty good magnet. Like, I will say, it does magnetize pretty well, and you can either put this in his hand, right? You put it in his hand with the handle, and then I have been able to have a lot of fun. You just take them and you can do this, and then, like, you know, let's see, the ball joint is actually loose enough that I can use the string to pull his arm into place. But then once I do that, you see he bounces. I'm not really moving my arm that much. The string is bouncy, which is really cool. And it really makes him feel like he comes alive on the string. So it's a pretty cool gimmick, pretty cool fun play feature that we don't really see a lot of in 3P. I mean, I've honestly never seen a string gimmick like this in 3P before. So that's really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it for accessories. Very small amount, but he doesn't need alternate hands, and he doesn't have like all the things from the shows except for that one alt face. So I think it's pretty okay. For size comparisons, we're gonna put you right there, I honestly don't have a lot to do size comparisons with anymore. I'll explain more later, but here's like the main thing you're going to see him next to, which is, you know, Deluxe Class Bone Shaker. That's a Hasbro Deluxe Class toy. And then I'm also going to put it next to a Lego minifigure. If you don't have one of either of these, either a Lego minifigure or a Deluxe Class toy, I'm sorry I can't help you, but I can help you with the most universal form of size comparison ever, which is just a generic ruler. He is almost 3 inches tall. Right? Well, no, that's if you include the, that's if you count his, this is 3 inches up here, right? So that mark, yeah, I guess he's almost 3 inches tall. Probably like 2 6/8, I think. Maybe 2 3/4, somewhere around there. But yeah, you know, that's where he is. Hopefully that's enough for your size comparison needs. If there's something else, I'm sorry, I literally don't have anything else that's like relevant or in a similar size. Or figures that you would, like, the vast public would know. Anyways, I'm going to get him transformed and we'll take a look at his tarantula mode. I hope you didn't click on this video if you're like arachnophobic. His name is Tarantulas after all. Like, you know, what did you think he was going to turn into? Anyways, see you guys in a bit. Now, here we do have tarantula mode. I think it handles it pretty well, you know. I mean, it is still like a little flimsy, just like the robot mode is. And the transformation, I think we'll talk about it in a second. But I think this looks pretty okay, I mean, for the most part, you know. There's a little bit of a lack of tabbage. I would have liked a little bit more in the tab category. Like, it's very robust in the back half. But then the front half is a little bit flimsier than I'd like. These legs have like super loose joints, so like it's really easy for it to splay. I mean, they're not loose. They don't flop freely. They just, at the slightest touch, they move out of position. It's really hard to explain. They're loose, but they're not floppy. And I think this is all very conscious decisions so that everything moves before it ever stretches or shears, which is, I guess, you know, makes sense. Everything is thin. The paint does come through perfectly though. Like, this thing looks, I mean, I don't really like, you know, arachnids, but like this looks pretty paint wise, right? A bit of a shame the crotch eyes are so visible here, but for the most part, you know, I don't know if this is very good, but I think it's fine. And it is, you know, shake, right? Like, it shakes pretty well, so it's pretty sturdy, all things considered. Articulation is pretty much none. It's just like these hinges, single hinges for the legs, and you really don't want to move them that much because it's hard for it to, you know, stand up consistently. Now, there is a port located on the underside, right there, just kind of back there. You can tab in either of the blasters back there, but, you know, the standard one is like whatever back there. The real boon is when you take the one that comes with the string and the magnet piece. Let me just make sure I can get it tabbed in. There we go. And then I can, like, I'm holding this right now, right? You could pin this somewhere, and then, right? Like, now it's like spinning on the string, obviously. Here, let me set it down so you can see me. Sorry, here's my hand, right? And you can like drag it around with the string, right? Like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. And then I can pull them up, and then I can, oh, leaned over a little bit. I can raise it, and then I can bounce it, right? The string has greatly impacted my enjoyment of this toy. Like, I gotta be honest, man. Shout out Play Features. Huge shout out to Play Features, I will say. Very fun. And obviously, you know, it is a string, so it's not going to be like perfect for display because it's going to be moving. But if you find somewhere in your house, either like in robot mode or like in whatever mode you want, and just like attach the magnet to it, you can have a lot of fun with this thing. I had it attached to the magnet, but I had him like holding the gun, so he was like, I don't know, like he was like swinging across like a banister or something, like Spider-Man or like Batman, more like it, with like his grappling gun, right? Like this is like a grappling gun basically, and you can kind of see how much I've like, you can stretch it, and then if I release it, I wonder, oh wow, you see, like it has a lot of there's a lot of tension, right? It's very springy. Okay, that grazed my finger. That actually kind of hurt. But yeah, you know, having a lot of fun. But as you can see, the legs do kind of give out from under him sometimes. So just got to make sure those all are underneath and supporting him, right? But yeah, pretty fun. I'm having a lot of fun. Final thoughts, I guess, or I'll just talk about the transformation in final thoughts. Ooh. That's a pretty good transition. But what I will say is that, this is kind of a bizarre thing where like this thing technically has flaws. Like at first, when I first got it, I was pretty disappointed by like the joints being weak. I was like, oh my God, like this is kind of flimsy, this is kind of floppy, I don't really like it. But the more I messed with it, the more I was like, well, the paint's really good, and it's really nice to handle. Like it constantly feels like you're fighting against like gelatin, because it kind of wants to, like, the joints want to give out. And it's not the best experience, but at the same time, like, everything is so easy to move into position, but also so easy to move out of position, that it's like once you get that pose, and like when you look at it, and the likeness is perfect, the proportions are perfect, and the transformation is pretty easy. It's on a similar level of rigor to the Kingdom Deluxe. A lot of things about this are similar to the Kingdom Deluxe. It feels a bit more refined. I think the Kingdom Deluxe will probably be the better toy, since it's not minuscule and has a lot more friction in its joints and is more fun to just mess with. But when you add the string gimmick here and the magnet, and you can just hang this thing from anywhere, and like just like messing around with it, it's really fun. It's really unique in that sense. Like I don't really know how many third-party companies are going to go out of their way to include this like really nice and really engaging string gimmick. Most won't. Like, yes, it can't launch the projectile, but I think at this scale, a spring-loaded missile launcher would just be like, that would just be insane, right? Guy can dream, I guess. I know most of you have no desire whatsoever for a spring-loaded spring-loaded string-attached projectile, but I thought it'd be really funny. But as you can see, this thing can still launch to some degree. The likeness is perfect. Robot Toys has fully shifted into fully tuned accurate designs for their Legends class Beast Wars stuff, and I think it's paying off. People seem to be a lot more excited now, and this is basically like one of the most accurate toys Tarantulas has. It might be the most accurate toy Tarantulas has ever had, except the Transart Transmetal one, but this is really accurate. I don't know so much about the alt mode, like the way the robot mode arms sit in alternate mode is a little bit iffy. The transformation is, again, super simple. It's just a little bit difficult because of how, like, again, how small some of the parts are, and how stuff just like moves around with the lightest effort. But once it all comes together, it's pretty solid. There's just one step that's really stupid. It has to do with like rotating the backpack from robot mode. The way you have to do it is like super order of operations-y and not very intuitive. And I'm afraid that somebody could like, not notice that and accidentally break that part. So just be careful and use the instructions, because that one step where you rotate the rear end of the spider and the backpack into place is just a little bit iffy. But for the most part, pretty good. Like if the joints were tighter on this thing and had more friction, it would honestly be like a standout 10 out of 10 banger perfect release. Like I'd have no notes. It doesn't really have an ab crunch, but I'm not complaining. But yeah, just the only thing holding this back is the fact that it's a little bit not necessarily flimsy, but it doesn't feel the most constitutionally solid, if you catch my drift. But yeah, I think definitely recommend if you're into Beast Wars. Obviously go into it knowing the joints will probably be looser than you're accustomed to, but also it'll prevent you from breaking those really thin appendages. Well, and they don't even feel that's fragile. I just think it was a safety measure to keep the tolerances on the looser side to prevent any breakages. But, definitely a recommend from me. I'm having too much fun with the string gimmick. And I think even if you don't collect Beast Wars, it can be a fun thing to hang this guy from some metallic surface in your room or in your office and just have like a little Spiderbot hanging around. That's worth a lot. I picked this up on Shozy on sale for $30. I still have a bunch of them. And I think it's not a bad value at that price, especially with how good the paint is. A little bit short on accessories, but he has what he needs. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Sorry for the delay. Some personal stuff came up. I hate to shill, but I do have had to let go of my collection. This guy was actually part of that. He's already gone, but I'll put a link to my Discord server in the bio, in the description of this video, like I always do. And I will have what I have listed for sale in that Discord server, and I will also link my TFW sales thread. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. That's why the size comparison was so stark. I will still be reviewing loaners, but I won't be collecting personally for the foreseeable future. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Sorry for the unneeded extra information. Hope you all have a great one. See y'all later. Souls Convoy. Peace out.